Okay, guys, I see many of you have joined. We can start. Can you guys confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes.
Now I have turned off the firewall on both of them. Check the name, etc. Checked IP. I'm trying to ping this server's IP, which is 172.16.0.4, and I'm trying to ping other server's IP from this one, 10.0.0.4, and I get request timeout. Why? Because both of these are in different VNet, obviously different subnets, different companies, different subscription, different directories. No connection with each other at all. Just because Vishnu sir has shared the email ID and password, sorry, this user ID and password, I'm able to log into that machine. Otherwise, I won't even know that what kind of machine it is. So this is the setup we have. Now the task is for us to make them communicate with each other. Right? Go one by one. First is VNet. Do we have a VNet? Both of us, do we have a VNet? What do you think, guys? Do we have a VNet?
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, we have a VNet. Can we have a machine without VNet?
No.
No. Next is gateway subnet. Let's go ahead and go create a gateway subnet. Vishnu sir, please go uh, to your machine or to your virtual network on this machine is residing.
Okay.
In my case, it's VNet 3. So I'm going ahead, clicking on
Okay.
VNet
And
3.
it's the VNet is mine. VNet is. I'm giving over the chat. This is the VNet. So do you need subnet as well?
No, no, I don't need it. Go to your VNet.
Oh.
Are you on your VNet?
Okay. Ah. Yes.
Okay. What is the address space do you have? Can you read it for me?
Okay. So address space is 10.0.0.0/16.
Okay, slash 16, which means you have enough addresses, guys. Slash 16 matlab, guys, he has approximately thousands of IP addresses, which
65,000.
is okay.
Right.
Right now, if we go to subnet,
Mm-hmm. So here slash 24,
which
250.
means you're only using 256 IPs out of those thousands, you're using only 256 IPs. Understand one thing,
Right.
guys. If instead of this slash 16, if he would have used, or let me give my own example. Here I'm using 172.16.0.0 and 22. If I come to this subnet and if I use slash instead of slash 24, if I use 22, I will be using all my IPs which are there in the VNet. 16,000 अगर थे, if I had 16,000, I'm just giving an example. If I had 16,000, then I'm using all of them. For example, if if this was the case, instead of 24, if I use 22, I would have used the complete. Now it is obviously not working because I already have a this series, right? I would have used complete IPs. If I use in one subnet, if I use the complete IPs, do I have a scope to create another subnet? In one VNet,
Mm.
guys, if I'm using thousands IPs and I'm using all those thousand in one subnet, is there any scope to create another subnet?
No.
No, right? Here, what we need a gateway subnet. Now, what is a gateway subnet? Gateway subnet is nothing, but it is just another subnet. So you have to create a subnet here. Click on the subnet. So what is the requisite? That you should have at least IPs available. So you can also click on subnet, Vishnu.
Haha, yes, I'm doing.
Click on subnet. Now, the difference here is subnet purpose. Do you see? We always kept it as default. Here it should be gateway subnet. So if you don't see a gateway subnet, your firewall management, that's okay. Leave it. The name should be gateway subnet. Exactly like this. No space, nothing. You can't change nothing here. You can't say that can I have small, uppercase, nothing. A gateway subnet has to be a gateway subnet like this. Once you have a gateway subnet, then only you will be able to create a this component, a VNet gateway. VNet gateway will get created only once it sees a gateway subnet, not any other subnet. See, I can create a subnet like new subnet. Okay, this is not helping me. Even if I create it, new subnet, just because there is a subnet and it has space, it will not accept it. Name has to be like this, a gateway subnet, right? It has to be a gateway subnet. And if you don't want to type that manually, it will give us the option. Earlier it was gateway subnet. Now I think they have changed it to
Network,
virtual network.
virtual
Here it
network
is.
gateway.
The moment
Okay.
I select virtual network gateway, it will give me gateway subnet. यहाँ पर नाम edit करने का option ही नहीं रखा है then. You don't have an option, right? So it's better that you come here and select virtual network gateway, and then it's a gateway subnet, right? Again, there is no compulsion. How many IPs do you want to use? Whatever it is, just leave it to 56. It's fine. Don't change anything. Simply just click add. This is your second condition we met. VNet we already had. Now we created a gateway subnet in that VNet. Obviously, we'll have to create it in the same VNet. Your machine is somewhere, you're creating gateway subnet somewhere else. That is not going to work. Okay, now we have gateway subnet available. Next thing, what is the next thing? It's virtual network gateway. Let's create a virtual network gateway. This is the component which is going to take a lot of time. Search for virtual network gateways. This is what you can search for. Is your gateway subnet created? Vishnu sir, is your gateway subnet created?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
well, it's
Search for
created.
virtual network gateways. Create virtual network gateway. Select your subscription. In your case, obviously, you have only one subscription. Name it. I'm going to name it as UT-Kloud Virtual Network Gateway. You can name it whatever you want. Now, my virtual network, let's say this is the virtual network I'm dealing with, right? VNet 3. It is in East US. So where do you think I should create my virtual network gateway? Can I go ahead and create it in Australia? If I create it, I will not be able to connect it to my VNet. So I have to make
Right.
sure that wherever my machine is or whichever VNet is in question, I'm trying to connect these two machines as of now, right? So where is this machine? This is in East US, which
Yes,
means
yes.
इसका virtual network भी East US में ही होगा. It is implied, right? You can't have virtual network in East US and machine in West US. That's not possible. So still, if you want to go ahead and check, this is the VNet which is in question. This is the VNet where I created a subnet, a virtual network gateway, a gateway subnet. But where is it? Which region? You come to overview and check. It is in East US. So by default, I'm creating a virtual network gateway in East US. It has to be East US. Then, are we talking about express route or VPN? I told you VPN, right? Express route we are
VPN.
not doing. SKU. Make sure we both are selecting the same. Normally, two companies they do not create it at the same time. It never happens that you get on a call and then you guys are creating, or is there like we are doing it because we are practicing. How it happens, you create and there is an export option. You export the file and you share it with the team. Technical team will know how to read that. Once you have the export settings, they will know what have you selected. They won't have to ask you. But here we are doing it simultaneously, so even you get practice out of it and you understand. So here, select this one, Vishnu sir. VPN Gateway 2,
Selected. So,
Generation 2.
so SKU means basically the same product, right?
No, no, we'll come to that. Leave it. We have 20 minutes
Okay.
now. Once we start clicking, it will take 20 minutes to create. I'll come to that. Don't worry.
Sure, sure.
Select VPN Gateway 2. Make sure we select same, otherwise it will not work.
Right.
Generation
So
2.
VPN BW2 generation 2, right?
Then select your virtual network. Now here, VNet 3. In my case, guys, VNet 3. And can you see it has already taken the gateway subnet? It will not take any other subnet. If instead of this, if I select VNet 1, see, because my VNet 1 doesn't have any subnet named gateway subnet. Don't get confused, guys. Gateway subnet is nothing but just a subnet. बस उसका नाम gateway subnet होना चाहिए. Otherwise उसका functionality कुछ और नहीं है. And the other thing is that you can't create a machine on gateway subnet. You can't go ahead and create anything manually on that gateway subnet. Right? So the moment I selected my virtual network, it selected the gateway subnet which was created. Are you on the same page, Vishnu sir? Are you till here?
Ah,
It
yes.
selected your gateway
Yes,
subnet?
yes.
Okay.
Right.
Now, public IP. I told you we'll require a public IP. This is going to be my sort of router's public IP. Imagine we are creating a router here. What are we creating as per this diagram? This is what we are creating.
VPN
Right?
gateway.
So public IP, I can't simply uh, guide them or command them that give me 20.20. No, that's not the way it works. I'll give the name. Azure will give me any available public IP. So I'm going to give name UT-Kloud virtual network gateway public IP. I'm just giving the name. They will assign me the IP. Now, enable active mode. What happens when you have a lot of traffic? This one tunnel, sometimes it gets stuck. You may face some problem. Hence, we can have two tunnels also, but we are not practicing that. Let's learn one. Otherwise, it's nothing. You just have to give two IP address and you have to do everything twice. Simple. It's sort of backup, redundancy. But today we are not going with that. So active mode, no. Disable. So that's it. That's all I have to do. Are we on the same page?
Ah, yes. So active mode, disable public IP, and then configure BGP.
Disable.
Okay.
Everything disable. After that, everything disable.
Right.
Done?
Done.
Click on create.
Okay.
Click on create. And now, guys, this is going to take 20 minutes. It may take
Okay.
15, 16, 18 minutes, but definitely it is going to take some time. Have you submitted? Is your deployment started, Vishnu sir?
Yes.
Okay, now let's wait. You can meet yourself. Once it is ready, you can let me know. Okay. Meanwhile, guys, SKU. What is the SKU? Okay, I clicked on that and that page is not coming here, unfortunately. But it's okay. I can search it for you. Hmm. SKU is nothing. It's not only in VPN. SKU is stock keeping unit, which means that some particular service or some particular IP, some particular service or some particular item, it is available in so many flavors that if I take this SKU, I am going to get this feature. If I take this SKU, I'm going to get these features. Here it is. Look at this. Basic SKU pricing. VPN, this SKU pricing, this SKU pricing. Difference, speed. Difference, these many tunnels it can support. These many tunnels it can support. If you go with this one, this is the speed you're getting. So it is as good as the models of your vehicle. You go ahead in the market, you want to purchase some vehicle. Let's say you want to purchase a Maruti Swift, right? Swift will have VXI, it will have LXI, it will have GXI. What it will have top end model. Everything is same, but if you go ahead with one higher model, you're going to get some extra feature. In LXI, maybe you're getting a tire size of 15 inch. In uh, ZXI, you can get 16 inch, right? Here you're not getting digital sensor. There you're getting digital sensor. In lower model, you're not getting keyless entry. In upper model, you're getting keyless entry. So SKU is nothing. It's variant of that particular service. So whatever we select, we keep getting some extra features, right? But the price keeps increasing accordingly. For example, Netflix, I think it also has some plans, right? You take basic plan, then you can't see HD. It can work only with one device, only with mobile. You take the next available plan, it will give you 720 resolution. It will work with maybe two devices, one mobile, one TV. You go ahead and take another plan. It will give you full HD. It will work with four devices. So that is your SKU, stock keeping unit. It's not Azure specific. It is there everywhere. Got it, guys?
Um,
Clear?
yes, got it. So one question here.
Hmm.
So suppose I'm choosing some different SKU for my own requirement for the VPN purpose, and you are using some other SKU. So, is there any problem while connecting the VPN between both these subscription?
Yes. First thing, we are not doing it across the subscription. This is across the companies. If it is in subscription, we can simply go ahead with VNet pairing, right? So this is not across the subscription. This is within between two companies, not subscriptions. Second thing, yes,
Ah,
there will be
right.
problem because if I'm taking 10 Gbps speed and you are taking 100 Mbps, there will be data loss, data lags, right? Second thing, it is not ever, never, it's not going to happen. Why? I told you that one company will do it, I will do it, and I'll export the file that this is the configuration I have selected. And your company's engineer, they will understand it, they will know it that if I have exported the file, these are the settings I have selected. You have to comply with that. One thing,
Uh,
this is not the only connection which you're going to use with multiple companies. It's not like that I'm creating one VPN and then I'm using it with multiple companies. If I'm trying to connect with Vishnu sir's company, I'm creating one VPN that I'm going to use only with his company. Tomorrow, if I want to go ahead and create another connection, let's say with Hanif's company, then I'll have to create another VPN. I'm not using same VPN on multiple connections. So it is not going to impact.
okay, okay. But in general, we are using a single VPN on the device, which generally we use for all the connections.
All the connections from one company.
No, no, not in term of Azure. In term of data center, we generally create one, we deploy one device firewall and deploy the VPN, and we give that VPN to all the consultant, other companies, partners. So all are using the same one, but in the Azure, we have to create separate one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What you're talking about is different to this, Vishnu. What you're talking about is giving access. That's not your site to site. Sorry.
I'm talking about
You're
the IP sector.
you're talking about individuals connecting to your network, right?
Right, right,
That's a
right.
different thing. We are not talking about any individual. We are connecting two sites over here.
Okay.
One company to another company.
Site to
What
site.
you're talking about is you as an individual, you give a VPN software. It could be Cisco AnyConnect or anything, Okta. You install it on your laptop and you connect
Right,
it, right?
right.
That's a different thing that we are going to do. That's point
Okay.
to site.
So means this is S to S, side to side,
Yes,
right?
yes. What you're talking about, that
Okay.
is what we are doing. It's site to site. We are connecting two
Side to
sites.
side.
Data center,
Okay.
on-prem data center to Azure. This is what we're doing, site to site. What you're talking
Okay.
about is individual. That my individual is working from home. He wants to access my Azure machines using the private IP. That we are going to do later,
Got
not today. Obviously, we don't have time. That
it.
it is here, point to site. In this case, yes, I can use one and I can give it to anyone. I don't have to create a different setup for every individual. That's not possible.
Okay. Okay.
So what you're referring to, it's point to site. What you guys are using, आप लोग VPN use करते हो, you get connected to your
Right.
company's network. That's point to site. What we are doing here is we are connecting two companies. We're not talking about any individual here. We're making a connection between two companies. Okay. Let's see. It is still preparing. I hope same is happening with you. Let me know once it is done. Once it is done, then we'll have to go ahead and create a connection. What are we done with? We have completed with VNet. Obviously, it had to be there. Without VNet, we couldn't have a machine. So VNet was there. Gateway subnet, I explained that if you have a VNet, which cider block is, let me explain it to you. We have time, so I'll explain it to you. Let's say. I have 200 machines in this VNet and I wanted to do the VPN connectivity on this VNet. Let me know if it is possible or not. First thing, is it possible to have 200 servers on this VNet? Let it deploy and I'll open it for you again. Here it is. Go through this properly and let me know how many servers can I have, or resources for that matter. How many resources can I have, maximum resources in this VNet or in this subnet?
Max 3.
Yes. What about others, guys? Are you getting it? It's not one-on-one session between me and Vishnu sir. Others, any questions, any doubts, feel free to ask. Hanif, getting it? Nagma, Nihal, Paul, are you getting it? Priyanka, Shagun,
Yes.
Wasim, are you getting it? Bashar?
Hello, sir. I'm guessing it's been the first time. I'm trying to understand what is going on, sir. It's
Sure.
very interesting. Very interesting, sir.
Thanks. Fine. So here, I can have only three. Now, I'm saying, okay, fine. Let me at least connect these three machines with some other. Let's say Heather has some other company, and now I'm planning to do the VPN connectivity with him. What is the first requirement of VPN connectivity? VNet. Do I have that? Yes, I have a VNet.
Yes.
What is the next method or next requirement? Gateway subnet. Let's go ahead and create gateway subnet. Look at this. This is my VNet address space, as in total addresses which I can have in my VNet is this 10.0.0.0/29. This is the total capacity I have, 29, right? And now I'm going to go ahead and create another subnet out of it. So I go to subnet, click on subnet. I'm pretty sure I know what needs to be done. Fine, gateway subnet. Okay. Why am I not able to create it? Forget gateway subnet. I'm saying, okay, this some seems to be some mistake. Let's create a basic subnet. Am I able to create a subnet?
No.
Why not?
Because the first point is that you have used the complete CIDR and which is also very less number of IP available. And
Number of less,
I mean,
zero IPs are available. I have used
yeah, correct.
completely. See,
It's
I
not
had 20
comprehensive.
cider 29, I used 29. If you think that this is a smaller example, I can take a largest cider here, but if I use it completely, then it's gone. If you use it in one subnet, then it is gone. So instead of 29, if it was 19, 8,000 IPs. Fine. Now changing the cider and everything looks very easy, very simple. But once addresses have been assigned, then it becomes very difficult. That's not possible. Hence, you always keep a room of creating multiple subnets. वो हमेशा रखते हो आप लोग. You'll keep it every time. Now, will I be able to create any subnet? Because I've changed the cider? Yes, I can. Look at this. It automatically appeared here. But it was easy because it was a training session. In live environment, not possible. And What if this was the case? It's 19, right? What if I use 19 in my first subnet itself? If instead of 29, if I would have used 19 here, I'm using all IPs, all 8,192 IPs. I'm using this subnet. That's gone. Now, no matter how big it was, all IPs are gone. Again, now if I try to create another subnet, I'm left with no IPs. So you guys getting the point that you always design your network. So you should have some scope, some breathing space. You never know what will, the moment you create a company, you don't know after 5 years whether you're going to acquire some company or whether some other company is going to acquire you. Whether you're merging, you're making some partnership, you got a good client and client wants to do the connectivity between you so you can do the data sharing, etc. They can send the work, you can complete and send back to them. They want to do it, but because your network was not designed properly, you will not be able to do it. Hence I told you, designing of the network takes a lot of time. When it comes to the architect team, they will think 10 years ahead, whatever client is saying, or based on that, that okay, you're projecting 5% growth, they will consider 10% growth. Having extra is not impacting you, but if you don't have IPs, it will impact you a lot. Okay, and now sorry, let's say instead of this you had four subnets. In four subnets you have used all 8,000 IPs, right? And you're saying my one subnet is free, it's available. I have I am not using it, but still it's not helping. Why? Because you need a subnet with a dedicated name. So you always have to keep your IPs free. You never know. In future, we are going to see Azure Bastion subnet also, Azure Firewall subnet also, router subnet also. By the way, this is a question they asked, that what are the dedicated subnets we have. So what dedicated subnet we have? Azure Bastion subnet, which we require for Bastion, Azure Firewall subnet, which we require for Azure Firewall, Gateway subnet, which we required for VNet, and router subnet, which we require for router. They don't ask router much. Bastion, Firewall, and Gateway subnet. These are three main. At least remember them. What does it mean? Nothing. Simple. They don't do anything extra. Only two different qualities they have. One is name. Name has to be exactly like this, right? Hence, it doesn't give you an option to select the name, change the name. So name has to be like this. Second thing, you can't have any machine on this. That's only two different things it has from any other subnet. Otherwise, it is a subnet. It's nothing. It's a subnet. Let's go back and check if it is created. It is still being created. Once that is done, we are going to create a connection. And while creating a connection, we'll have to create a local network gateway. Now, what is a local network gateway? A local network gateway, it's nothing. It is going to carry the information of virtual network gateway of the other company. For example, UT-Kloud, right? I want the details, right? I want the details of other company which is trying to connect with me. I want their public IP and I want their CIDR block, that any request which is coming from this, through this, it should be allowed on my network. And similarly, they need some information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a local network gateway. That local network gateway, it's a container. It's a container to host the data of the other virtual network gateway. So here I'm going to have the public IP of this virtual network gateway and the CIDR block of this virtual network, which Vishnu sir will give me. And I will give him the same information, the public IP of my virtual network gateway and CIDR block of my virtual network. In diagram, it is showing 10, but I'm actually working on 192, or sorry, 172. I'll share that. So he will have to put my information here. I'll have to put his information here, and then we'll set up the connection. But for that, we'll require our virtual network gateway. By the way, it takes 20 minutes to get ready, and it is one of the costliest services. If you leave it, if you show some laziness that you create and leave it for 1 hour, all your 7 to 8,000 rupees will be vanished in an hour. So as
Okay.
soon as we are done with this, I'll be deleting that. So when you guys have your own subscription and if you're doing the practical, please make sure you start the practical when you have free 2 to 3 hours. Don't give any excuse that, okay, I created and then I had to go for lunch. I had an office call. It was an urgent call. So I just have had to leave. If you leave it, you will be the only one who will be able to perform the practical. And it will eat up all the money and no one else will be able to practical. No one else will be able to practice it. So the moment it is created, the moment you see that two machines are talking to each other, start deleting everything immediately. And make sure you wait here to see that it has been deleted. Sometimes it gets failed, sometimes some error occurs and it doesn't get deleted and stays there and it will eat up all your money. Is your virtual network gateway ready, Vishnu sir?
Uh, so still deployment is in progress. So virtual network gateway created and public IP address created.
No, it says deployment in progress, right?
In progress, right?
Then it's not created. I mean, status shows created, but we'll wait.
Okay.
Meanwhile, what I can
So
do, I can give you the public IP of it. So let me open another tab and I'll give you the public IP. Now, what is the name I had given? Here, this is the name I had given. I'll go ahead and search for this. You can do the same thing. So what I'm looking for is the public IP of my virtual network gateway.
okay.
This is the public IP I have got. Now, don't get confused, guys. I mean, it's coincident that even I'm using the same range of class B and public IP भी उसी का मिल गया. It might confuse you. Is it a public IP or private IP, by the way?
It's a public IP.
What is the private range of class B? What is the range?
Class B.
I think that's what 172.16.
Not sure.
Yes, guys. I'm using it, right? That is my IP address on my machine. Fine. So we have received here public IP from Vishnu sir. That is his public IP 13.90.20559. And this is my public IP, which we have got on our virtual network gateway, right? This is the public IP, which we are going to use in our local network gateway. One more thing which we are going to use, it's the CIDR. So I think now we have, sorry, we have both the information. I can use it. So, Vishnu sir, can you give me the CIDR block of your virtual network? Whatever virtual network you're using, right? That virtual network's CIDR block and public IP. So I've already got your public IP. I need your CIDR block. I'll give you mine and I'll show it to you. See, public IP I already gave you, right? This is my public IP. Now what I'll be sharing with you, it's my uh this one, CIDR block of my virtual network, which I can go here, which is the VNet we're talking about. Okay, first I gave you this one. This is connected to, okay, by the look at this 172, 190, 201, 108. That's my public IP. It is my public IP. Don't get confused, guys. It is my virtual network's public IP. Now, next thing what I want to do, next thing it's I want to give him the virtual network's CIDR block. Which VNet is in question? VNet 3. दिस इज द VNet जहां पर हमने सब बनाया है, राइट? गेटवे सबनेट, उसके ऊपर गेटवे, सब हम इसी पे बना रहे हैं. दिस इज द VNet वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. Okay, so this is what I'm going to give. If I go to VNet 3 overview, 172.16.0.0/22. This is my CIDR. This is mine. So I am going to give it to him, and he'll be sharing his with me. He has also
So
shared
it's 10
his is
000
yes, I
slash
got it.
16.
I got it. So his is 16. I hope you guys are getting it right. I'm making it uh very detailed. I'll be changing these also. Don't get confused कि ये 10 कहाँ से आ गया, because I had designed it with 10 but now we are using different sets, hence I have to change this. His gateway will be maybe, what is it, 2 or 3? Maybe it is 1. Gateway subnets range, or it's okay, whatever it is, it's okay. I hope you guys will understand it now. So this is his setup, guys. Okay, and this is my setup. Now let's, guys, we have
So
only 1 minute left in this session. Uh, what we'll be doing, we'll just have another session for 15 minutes, because creating this again, it will be a big task, and keeping them, it's not possible, right? So we'll simply have another session just for 15 minutes without any break. We'll join and we'll complete this. This is my setup. I hope this is clear to everyone now. Okay. Now what we'll have to do is we'll have to go to connection. Okay. Let's rejoin the session, guys, and then I'll show you the setup. Let's rejoin the session. We have only 30 seconds left in this one. So let's rejoin the session and I'll show you the setup. I'm stopping the session, rejoin using the same link. It won't take 40 minutes. It will hardly take 15 minutes. We'll just see the connectivity and we'll stop for today. Stopping the session now.